What is up, YouTube, and what is up, Raider Nation? This is Wi-Fi Willie of the Raiders Rundown. We got some great stuff coming up for you today. We're going to talk about David Carr's latest comments on Josh McDaniels. Should be pretty interesting. And then we're also going to talk about this newest hire, man. Let's get to that right now. Rob Ryan, the OG GOAT, hired as the defensive assistant, senior defensive assistant, or senior. I'm not sure how you want to say that, but hired as a defense assistant for the Las Vegas Raiders. Patrick Graham getting this guy on the squad. Rob Ryan spent last year as the Ravens linebacking coach, and this dude has a history with the Raiders. Look at him. I got him in some gear right here, right now. You can see our guy Rob, 59 years old, over 20 years of NFL experience, 22 years to be exact, hired as the senior defensive assistant, and has that Patriot connection from the year 2000 to 2003, was the Patriots linebacking coach, then the Raiders defensive coordinator from 2004 to 2008, and he coached some pretty good players. Derek Burgess, Thomas Howard, Kirk Morrison. He also coached Tyvon Branch, who I really like, and also Nnamdi Asomugha. Oh, you guys remember Nnamdi? He was the GOAT back in the day. And then 2009 to 2010, he was the Browns D coordinator. Following that year, the Cowboys defensive coordinator, Saints defensive coordinator. I felt like this guy's been the defensive coordinator of just about everybody at this point. Bills assistant head coach, Redskins linebacker coach, and Ravens linebacking coach. I don't like the brother Rex. His brother Rex Ryan is a little annoying on ESPN, does some pretty lame takes, and it's pretty cheesy. He's got those nice veneers though on his teeth for what is he, like a 60-year-old man? So that's pretty cool. But aside from that, I mean, I didn't like how his brother Rex was really anti-Gruden. I bet you if you look close at Rex Ryan's emails, you're gonna find some pretty raunchy stuff. I can guarantee that. I'll put some money on that. However, Rob's the coach, and he's a good defensive mind. He's been around the league. I do find it weird that he's kind of been demoted as of late, being only a linebacking coach. So maybe he'll be content with just focusing on that in particular. One thing about Rob Ryan is he was mainly the inside linebacking coach for both the Washington football team and the Ravens. So we'll see if he does that, or maybe he'll branch out and be the full linebacking coach. Who knows? Senior defense assistant, that's a pretty big position. Rod Marinelli, when he came in 2020, was also a senior defensive assistant and later became the interim defensive coordinator. But I think Patrick Graham is going to be here for a while. But I want to know from you, Raider Nation, do you guys like this hire? Rob Ryan for senior defensive assistant. Let me know in the comments, yes or no, if you like this hire. I'm going to say yes. I think it's pretty cool that a guy with a deep resume is willing to take a role like just a linebacking coach, senior assistant for the Raiders. I think the fact that we've been acquiring all this talent, Jason Simmons lately, Patrick Graham, the defensive coordinator, obviously, and then now Rob Ryan, shows that a lot of coaches are jumping on the Raiders train. A lot of coaches want to go to Vegas. It's a hot destination, and they think they're going to make a lot of money and win a lot of games here, or else you don't go and take this role. You don't take this role as just a linebacking coach. However, the flip side of that is you could say, hey, maybe Rob couldn't get a D coordinator job somewhere else in the NFL, and he had to take this role as a senior defensive assistant / linebacking coach. So we'll see. Let me know. And I got an even bigger question. Does Rob Ryan look like comedian Ron White? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to comment yes. At first, I thought maybe Steve Bannon, but then I was like, no, this guy's looking like Ron White for sure. Maybe he's smoking some cigars, taking some shots, and doing some blue collar comedy. Who knows? But he can easily do that. If I'm looking at Rob Ryan and I'm going to judge him superficially, I'm going to say he's not an alcohol guy, and I would say food is his vice. Clearly, if you look at that lumpy body. But hey, look, I got a lumpy body too, so I'm just trying to keep it 100 here. Let's get into David Carr. All right. David Carr, but no, seriously, tell me if this guy looks like him. Seriously, tell me. But I really want to get into David Carr. Now, hey, I've been on this channel, and I would say back when David Carr appeared on the Coward Show, I was the only YouTube channel at that time to read between the lines of what David Carr was saying in that interview with Colin Cowherd. And in that interview, he said things, and this is before the Josh McDaniels hired. In that interview, David Carr said things that the Raiders need to make a commitment to Derek, and that means putting pieces around him to help him succeed. And he also said the big kicker that I pointed out, which is if it's going to be the same thing that Derek's dealt with the past 8 years, I don't know if Derek's going to sign up for that. And so I was the first one to read between these lines. I mean, the story was out there for a day or two, and I put it together and said, hey, something's happening. There's negotiation trouble, clearly, and we don't know if Derek Carr is going to be here. Since then, Josh McDaniels has been hired, and then we still have this situation where Derek Carr hasn't said anything publicly about Josh McDaniels, and we are rolling on day 13 now. I'm gonna count because when Gruden was hired, he said something really quick. So I'm just gonna say that. And I know contract negotiations are happening, but hey, technically Max Crosby's in a contract year. Technically, Renfro's in a contract year, and they're saying stuff about McDaniels. So I think that's something to pay attention to. But But now we're reaching a different moment. We're reaching a different moment where there's still silence from Derek, but now David is now speaking out. And he's speaking out, I would say, more for the first time since the McDaniels hire. And when you look at this was on Raiders.com. He did a little interview, and you could check that out. And he goes on and talks about how he thinks McDaniels' scheme is great for Derek Carr. And he also thinks that the Raiders have a lot of great pieces to work with for that Patriots type of offense. And he says it's a very similar to Gruden's offense. And the key comment he said is that Josh McDaniels' offense relies a lot on the quarterback making adjustments, seeing the defense and making adjustments there on the field and having that freedom to do that. And so because of that, David said Derek Carr excels at that. And so David said he thought it was great. And he had these key quotes. They could not have brought in a better guy, honestly. If it was another guy, I would be a little hesitant. Then he also says the guy that he, as in Mark Davis, brought in just happens to be the perfect fit for your quarterback in that system. He's saying, hey, if it was somebody else, he wouldn't be singing these praises. And he's saying, hey, I think this is going to be perfect for Derek Carr. So I think he's now walking back these comments that he made, saying that the Raiders need to make a better commitment to Derek and need to give him the pieces around him. And now that he sees the Josh McDaniels hire, offensive-minded head coach, he is now, it seems like, switching his tone and being favorable to McDaniels and trying to articulate the position that Derek Carr would be excited to work with Josh McDaniels. He's putting that out there publicly. So what does this mean? What does this mean, right? In my opinion, it means that Derek Carr really wants to deal with the Raiders. He wants a deal, and he wants to work with Josh McDaniels. Now, is this for certain at this point? No, nothing's for certain in the NFL, but clearly David Carr's tone has changed since the McDaniels hire. It's clearly a lot more positive towards the Raiders. But I'm going to say one key thing, though. One key thing in this, and I didn't write this here, and here's one thing he said, where he said, after talking about how Derek Carr fits perfectly in the system, David Carr said, I don't know if Mark thought about that when he made the hire, or if he just wanted to bring the Patriot way to Vegas. And then he goes on to say, the guy that Mark Davis, brought in just happens to be perfect. So in my opinion, that was a little weird because that was kind of like David admitting that, did Mark even have Derek Carr and his fit with McDaniels in mind during the hire? He's casting doubt onto that. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say that I'm reading between the lines too much, but that's exactly what you have to do to predict the future in the NFL. There are things that nobody expected to happen, and they happen because a lot of people failed to read between the lines. I was not a YouTuber during the Gruden's first year when Khalil Mack was traded. But from what I remember, I was heavily involved in following the NFL. And I remember every single person, you can go on Reddit, you can go on YouTube, all the blogs, none of them thought we would trade Khalil Mack. Until the day that he was traded, people casted doubt on whether Mack would be traded. And then it happened. And everybody flipped out and was shocked because you didn't read between the lines of what was actually said. Yes, Gruden said that he loved Mack and wanted to coach him. Obviously, didn't turn out to be the case. You never know what's going on with these contract negotiations. And I would say David Carr looks like he's trying to open the door to maybe giving the Raiders more leverage versus Derek. Maybe Derek is finding out that the market's not too hot. And the market that is hot are teams that are not going to the Super Bowl. I think that's the key thing. I think Derek eventually, at this point, this is going to be my prediction reading between the lines. I think it's becoming more likely that Derek takes not a team-friendly deal, but not a mega deal for the Raiders, because when you look at all the other teams available out there that Derek could go to, none of them are as appealing as the Raiders, especially now that we have Josh McDaniels. The only two teams that would be appealing for Derek Carr, if I was him, would be the Buccaneers and the Steelers. Maybe that's not going to happen. Maybe they don't have the cap for that. So we'll see. I hope a deal is done. Look, this is what I want to happen. I want the Raiders to re-sign Derek Carr, and I want to be the biggest cheerleader. I want to get the pom-poms out and start cheering for Josh McDaniels and Derek Carr to live happily ever after and win a ton of Super Bowls. That's what I want to be doing on this channel every single day. But I can't do that. I can't do that right now until a deal is signed. I can't sit here and lie to people and lie to the audience and say, oh, everything's fine and Derek Carr is going to be the QB for the Raiders because David said some nice things about Josh McDaniels. No. This is going to be a long negotiating battle. And this is something that we're going to follow hardcore on this channel. And I know it's going to make some people upset. It's going to pull some people the wrong way because they don't want to think about if Derek Carr's not leading this team when we look like we're going on a good trajectory, right? And look, I hope all these comments indicate that a deal is being made. But like I said, I'm not going to sit here and lie and act like it's certain. And I'm not going to sit here and act like there's a game being played here, man. There's a game. Derek Carr hasn't said anything publicly, right? David's out here making some comments. Who knows what's going on? Ziegler says we're going to have to wait to see how things work out, despite the fact that you got 8 years of film on this guy. You got to wait and see how things work out. So we'll see. It's going to come down to what Derek wants, what Ziegler and McDaniels want, and I hope they want a very similar thing. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to like this video. If you watched it all the way through, subscribe to this channel. We got more Raiders updates coming every single day, especially during the weekdays. And whenever breaking news happens, we go live. And if you want to support this channel hardcore, man, you really want to keep us going full time, become a member. There's a link in the description. We have so many members right now, and we are building every single day. And the more members we have, the more content we can bring to you every single day. Peace out, Raider Nation. This is Wi-Fi Willie of the Raiders Rundown, and I hope you have a good one.